Well, we are fourth and we are loving life at the minute. Welcome all to a view from the sidelines. It's an early one this week because of other commitments, but yeah, it's top draw at the minute. We are fourth in the league. We are loving life, and yeah, we're flying high at the minute. Do you know what I mean? I am looking to see if anyone is on here tonight. If anyone comes on, then all good. But yeah, let's divulge into the game that, for me personally, opened the door for Champions League football. I believe this game was the one that decides it if we are Champions League or if we are just basically pretending to be there and just sort of blagging along. And yeah, I thought we was top draw like yesterday. We can't keep conceding goals though. That's 7 goals in 3 games, and we're starting to become an habit now. Let's check the comments. We've got Jamie Betts, evening. Caffel, evening. Mark, evening. How you doing, mate? Yeah, so not being funny, it was a game of I thought up to the mistake from Azawaku, we was good. We was very good. We had Leicester contained. We scored the goals at the right times. The 2 goals were for half time. Especially the second one was massive. Like, if we're going to do anything this season in regards of whatever European football we do get, if any, we're going to have to sort of, when we get the chances, make them count, so to speak. And yeah, I looked at it and I assessed it, and I'm not being funny. I thought we was top draw, and then we make a mistake in the 70th minute. Mass decides to do what he does very well and makes an error again, and yeah, it lets them back in the door. And I've seen different things today and processed different things, but like people say, well, we didn't lose the game, but we could have done. If you're going to keep making mistakes, then yeah, it's not good. Mark says Noble looks like he will play. Injured elbow. Saw his interview. I haven't saw his interview, mate. So if you can enlighten me, I haven't seen nothing on that. So yeah, tell me, mate. I thought he was top draw going on to Noble yesterday. I must admit, that's Noble of old. When he sits in that position and stays in that position, he's a top player. He's a good player, very, very good player. When we want him to sort of go box to box, it ain't going to work. And what West Ham are doing very well at the minute is they're putting him in that sort of DM position in front of the back 3 and saying, Mark, you sit there, and basically that's where you stay, sort of thing. And Souček and Fornells are getting around the pitch and basically covering like with the energy and expressing themselves totally. So yeah, first goal, like I thought, great finish from Lingard, absolute superb finish from Lingard. That's what Manchester United talent is. Like, and when we all remember Manchester United from many years ago, that's the team that used to breed like top draw players at the club. So yeah, it was top class, mate. He was top class. He's a superb finisher. And I had my doubts on Lingard, I must admit. I had my doubts. I had my concerns, like the social media activity and all that. Is he going to just come here just to be a bit part player? But as I've said before, and I'll say it again, he's embraced the club. He's embraced what it means to the fans. He took it on board, and we have a bit of a dilemma, which is like the better he does, the better we do, and we could lose him in the summer. But I think what we've got to do is we've just got to embrace it for this season and assess it in the summer. And if Lingard is to go on to better things, he could be a one season wonder, a bit like how Pyatt was in 16, and basically look at it like that. I've got a guest that I'm going to bring in. I've got Caffel. How you doing, Caffel?
Good, James. Yourself?
Yeah, very well, mate. Very well. Give me your assessment quickly of the performance of Jesse Lingard and also the man of the match performance of Jarrod Bowen.
Well, Lingard certainly put in, I think, one of his best performances. First half wise,
Mm,
anyway, he was all over the place, constant press, and especially when we've no Antonio up there, he's going to have to do a lot more sort of running just to fill out the striker role as well as the attacking mid. So I have no complaints. I wouldn't even complain about him getting tired. You can't blame him.
mm.
He's only, what is it, 8 or 9 games he's played now. He's not been playing a long time. It's gonna,
Nah.
like, especially doing that amount of running. Most players wouldn't get 90 minutes out of that running anyway. So I think it's near as good as as we're going to get out of him, and hopefully we can end up keeping him. There's links today that PSG and Inter and some other clubs are interested. I couldn't see them being interested in him
Mm,
personally. I think it's just tabloid talk. But Bowen,
yeah.
I think Bowen was it's great to see Bowen back to that type of form after the way he was for them 2 or 3 months. But
Mm,
delighted with it. So happy to see him back,
mm,
and it's going to be amazing for the team when he's performing like that.
I agree. I do agree, mate. Totally. Um, the the issue is with it is basically, does Lingard look at this now and go, if them teams do come in when them teams was nowhere to be seen a year ago, obviously him coming to West Ham and embracing the club and West Ham's giving that platform. If he was to go to a Real Madrid, PSG, whatever, would you be? Would obviously you would be disappointed as a fan not to see him in a claret and blue shirt, but would you see it as like in a way that he's just used us as a stepping stone to get on to bigger things?
I it's one of those we'll just have to see. Like, we'll have to let the time take, like, go and see how it goes. But I personally, right now, I wouldn't, because the form he's on, he's
Mm,
definitely our best player impact wise. And you could see him playing for. I couldn't see him playing for Real Madrid or something. Like, we already know he is a track. Like, you can see from at
mm,
Man United, he suits a team like us a lot better. I could see him performing at Inter Milan maybe, because it's just a different league, and it's not as much pressure as a PSG or a Real Madrid, because they're not mad for the Champions League. But I could see him going for something like that. But I think I'd trust him to stick with us if we have the opportunity to sign him and we put the money forward. I think him staying will keep players like Rice around longer. It'll keep everyone happier, and it'll keep us happy. I think
I
it's a good
agree,
deal all
mate.
around.
I agree. I think if he signs, we might be starting to see a development in West Ham's league standings, so to speak. Like, I look at it like this: if he signs, he brings players with him, i.e., players who would be attracted to play with the likes of Declan Rice, Thomas Soucek, Jesse
100%,
Lingard.
and you also couldn't blame him if he was offered a contract with Real
Mm,
Madrid or PSG. You couldn't blame him for taking that either. It's just one of those
mm,
we're going to have to wait and see. But if he does
mm.
stay, I can see him attracting so much more to us.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Let's bring this man in. West Ham Online, how you doing, sir?
Very, very well. How about yourself?
All good, mate. All good. What we're discussing at the minute is basically, do you, if Lingard, we're in a bit of a catch-22 situation here. The better Lingard does, the more attention he's getting. Um, and obviously, we want. Let's be honest here, as fans, 7 games to go, we want Champions League as fans. Like, that's what we're after. If we don't get it, we ain't going to be disheartened. But with 7 games to go and the 7 fixtures that we have, they're the best set of fixtures we can likely to have. We've only got one, if not two, maybe, who are half decent teams at the minute. Um, but what do you make of the rumours of him being linked with PSG, Real Madrid, so forth?
If I'm being completely honest, I reckon that rumour, because I've seen Man United, Ed Woodward involved with ESPN before. I reckon that it's completely made up to drive his price
Mm,
up, in my opinion. The one thing you can say about Ed Woodward, don't get me wrong, that the guy knows less about football than George Pig, but the man knows
mm,
how to get shirt sales done. He knows a lot about business. As I
mm,
said, he's got absolutely no clue about football, but that's the one thing he can do. And
mm.
I think it's completely made up. I don't know what you two think personally, but
Um, Teams must be, and I'll hand it over to Cathal in a minute. Teams must be taking note though of
Yeah,
this situation with him. Like he's scored 8 goals now, and he's only been here since the end of January. So, like he's been here well, just over 2 months, and it's sort of like this player is springboarding us to a next level, so to speak. He's being like the catalyst for us to progress. So for me, it's like it's one of them ones. Like the better he does, the better we do as a club. But I know it's not. Well, I know we're not a one-man team and all that, and one man don't make a team. But if he was to go, how disappointed would you be if we say, for instance, we did end up in a Champions League position? I'll put that to Cathal first.
I'd be very disappointed if we didn't get to keep him. But if it is one of those clubs coming in for him, I don't think it is. I think it is just tabloid talk. But if they do come in for him, you couldn't blame him. Like you would never put blame on him. He's rejuvenated his whole career in the last 2 or 3 months. But I would be disappointed. But once we could get a replacement, and I think if we weren't to get someone like him, get someone like Pereira, if West Brom go down, he's been very good.
Yeah.
Or Buendia from Norwich, even though they'll be coming up. If we're not to get Lingard, get someone like that, because right now Lingard is the man. You want the ball to hit him. Like anytime you're looking up, we're looking for his runs. We're looking for where he is, the space near him to give him the ball. I think he even knows that himself. If he's to go to a bigger club, it's going to be the same as Man United. It's going to be okay. I'm just a middleman here. I have to pass to Bruno. I have to pass to Pogba. I have to pass to Rashford. He's not going to have that when he's with us.
Mm. What do you think, West Ham Online, on that?
I always thought when he was at Man United that his best elements of his game was his movement and his energy, and that's literally, we're a counter-attacking team, so it's completely perfect for him. If he went to the teams that are linked PSG, for example, let's be honest, he's nowhere near as good as Neymar, which that's nothing to be ashamed of, but he wouldn't get in front of Neymar. I don't think he starts for PSG personally, and even if he does, he'll just be the supporting casters. How do you pronounce it, Cathal? Is it Cathal or Cahill? I've heard about 18.
It's Cahill.
Cahill, right. Yeah. As you said, honestly, I think he'd be the supporting cast if he went to one of them teams. I think he's...
Hello?
Well...
Cut out for me as well there.
I think you got out for you. But yeah, like I think he would be the supporting cast, but you've also got to look at it that he's playing for Real Madrid, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And Real Madrid do have Champions League football. At least. Yeah, it's basically a sort of a hint of basically saying like, come and play for us. But let's be honest here, if he stays with us and we sign him up, we've got one hell of a player. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Do you know what I mean? One hell of a player. Let's bring Scott in. Scott, how you doing, sir?
How's it going, James? You all right?
All good, mate. All good. Falls from irons, Poundland Internet. Yeah, it certainly is, mate, with our West Ham Online when he does return. But you can't have it all. You can't shop at Harrods and expect Poundland rates. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Before I get West Ham Online back in after his dodgy internet, Scott, obviously, mate, great result yesterday. Superb, absolute first class team performance up to the 70th minute, and then they decided to give us heart attacks going forward. For me, for you personally, what did you make of Lingard's 2 goals and a semi-assist performance yesterday?
Yeah, no, for 65, 70 minutes, mate, I thought he was brilliant. He just seems to be getting better and better as each game goes on. And they keep saying about an extra 5 million per game, which is a little bit worrying, isn't it? But yeah, no, he was fantastic, isn't he? He's as a new player in there almost. But no, I thought his performance yesterday he was superb once again, and just in the right areas. We've missed that, someone with that instinct finish abilities, and to be in the right place. Antonio hasn't really done that of late, has he? But Lingard, he's just there, isn't he? And he's fantastic. His performance yesterday was really good.
I agree, mate. I really do. I thought he was top class. Let me ask Cathal this. What did you make of Jarrod Bowen yesterday? Now, this is a man that I've sort of criticised for a long time, and the last 3 games he stepped up to the plate massively. And I can't stress it enough. What did you think of his man of the match performance yesterday?
I'd agree 100%. I criticised him the last 2 or 3 months. He seemed like he was very weak as well for a while. He seemed like anytime he'd get into a 50-50, he'd fall over and not even get a free for it. He just wasn't up for it a lot of the time. Seemed sort of Anderson-like on that sort of just direct running but no decision making. But he's really got that slap up the arse now, and he's going for it. And it was the best performance I've seen out of him since probably when he signed. He came out firing when he signed it for a bit there, and then he dwindled off in form, but he was always still contributing his bits for a few minutes of a game. But now he's doing it. The last 3 games, he's doing it for at least 60, 70 minutes, and that's all you can ask out of them. You can't, you don't expect it for the full 90, and you get 60, 70 good minutes out of a player, and that's man of match worthy performance, I think.
I agree. Anyone in the comments below, if they want to comment on Bowen's performance, by all means do, because I like to hear your thoughts. West Ham Online, what did you think of Jarrod Bowen yesterday, mate?
It is interesting how I don't think Bowen's been great this season for a player of his potential that I believe he has, yet he still has 8 goals, and that fills me with so much confidence. I thought yesterday he was fantastic. I thought he wins fouls really well. He won 8 fouls yesterday, which is probably one of the most in a game this season. His assist for Bowen was really unselfish, and it was a decision-making point of view, which we haven't seen him perfect this season. And he perfected it with his decision-making there. And his goal was a good finish as well, and good positioning, actually, considering he's usually a right winger. So I was happy with his performance.
Scott, what did you think of Bowen yesterday, mate? Man of the match.
Yeah, I agree with the man of the match. Definitely, he was brilliant yesterday. Really, really impressed with him. And what impressed me the most was the assist for Lingard. In previous games, we've seen him do that and not get his head up, whether that be take a shot or not see the man at all. So that was really impressive. Although it seemed a simple pass, that's definitely a plus, and hopefully that's what he's been working on. But yeah, overall performance, mate, I was really happy, really, really impressed. And now he's going on a little run, and hopefully that can continue, especially with Antonio out. And to be honest, mate, if Antonio was back fit, I think Bowen starts for me right now. So he's got the shirt at the moment. Might be controversial, but yeah, no, he really impressed me yesterday.
Yeah. Forge from Irons has put a comment here. I believe the big reason Bowen is on the up is being challenged in training by Moyes and Lingard as he's reaping the benefits. Obviously, I think all the goals have been assisted for Bowen, correct me if I'm wrong, by Lingard. Lingard's assisted all 3 of his goals in the last 3 games. He assisted yesterday.
Yesterday.
Oh, yeah, Souček, but he was part of the makeup of the goal. But the goals at Arsenal and the goals at Wolves. Do you think that Bowen's sort of stepping up now to the Bowen that we all remember from Hull, if that makes sense? Like, when we signed this man, this is the man who was banging in goals for fun at Hull. So, what do you think on that, West Ham Online?
I thought last season when he joined, he wasn't scoring, don't get me wrong, but I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Especially after lockdown, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I remember when we played Newcastle in the 2-2 draw, he was fantastic. Great at Norwich when Antonio scored 4. Brilliant when he scored against Southampton, just the final game where the home fans were there. So I thought, I don't know what I'll ask everyone else in a minute, but I don't know what everyone else thought regarding that, because I thought if he starts bringing goals to his game for West Ham and plays the way that he played after lockdown, I think we've got a hell of a player there, and a player who the backroom staff was saying has top 6 potential, and I think he's starting to display that if he can maintain the consistency he's shown in the past 3 games.
What do you think on that, Caffel?
I think the speed that we're playing at right now is really helping him out. I think him being able to get in behind and as they said, I think they said on Match of the Day that we're getting up from our box to the opposite box in 10 seconds. The speed has really helped him out, and him having the freedom up there since Antonio's been out, or even when Antonio's there, when we're playing that sort of, because Antonio doesn't even play as an out and out striker a lot of the time when they're there. It's just constantly they're weaving in and out of each other. You play up front wherever there's space. One person goes for it, the other two take a runner with them and make the space for him. I think the speed has really helped them out, and he's been class the last while. All we need is the consistency for him, and he definitely is a top 6 player.
I agree. Tom's got a comment here. We've seen him play there for 1 game, but could be a longer term fix and to the end of the season, basically. Tom, if you want to come on, mate, DM me on Twitter and I'll send you a link and you can come on and express your views, mate. Scott, obviously, what do you think on that, mate, following West Ham Online and Caffel?
Yeah, I agree with all the points they made, and I think he's got a really good partnership going with Lingard now, which is going to be key. Southampton have just missed a penalty. So I mean, just let's hope he can, carry this form on, and it's not just a little mini, purple patch. But yeah, no, we've got a player there. We've got a really good player. He was brilliant in the Championship, and we saw it after he signed. Then he went off the rails a little bit, but yeah, no, you can't fault him at all for yesterday. I think we just need to persevere with him as well, rather than these silly little plays one, misses 1 game. So now he's got the shirt. Let's really try and see what we can do with him.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. To round that up with all the boys have said, I couldn't agree with you more. I think he's stepped up to a level now that's the Jarrod Bowen that I've seen at Hull, who was banging goals, and he's starting to get the confidence back up again. He did go missing for a good few months, and I'll be honest with you, I thought he would have been one of the players who could have been at the door, if I'm honest. Do you know what I mean? If I'm being really truthfully honest, I thought he was just losing his way. But the last 3 games have re-energised him, and the way he's been playing has just been top class. And his speed and his finishing ability is starting to get a bit better, and his awareness. So yeah, top draw from Bowen on the man of match performance there. But moving on, I'm going to get to it, lads. Are we serious top 4 contenders now? I'm going to ask Caffel this one, and I'll run through all the lads. Caffel, top 4 contenders, top 4 hopes.
For sure. There's no way we can't be. Like, you don't make it over 30 games of the season in this position out of luck. We've made our own luck. We've pushed it out. Small squad. Everyone's doing their bit. And I can see us pushing up to 3rd. Hopefully everything goes our way with injuries and all that. But I can see us pushing to 3rd or at least 4th. But I'd be 4th is what I want, but I wouldn't be disappointed with the 5th. But I think we can make that top 4 100%.
No, I agree. What in the comments below, what do you think? Top 4 contenders, or are you still in between on the fence at the minute, thinking that we could slip? Be interested to hear your thoughts. Scott, what do you think, mate? Are we serious top 4 contenders now after beating Leicester, or does this game and the Chelsea game decide it for you?
I certainly think we are contenders. We've got to be considered now, definitely. The only thing that worries me is the injuries, is the ever-growing injury list that we've got at the minute. And I think, unfortunately, that might be the only thing that jeopardises us, which would be a real shame. considering how well we've done. But yeah, certainly, if we can get a result at Newcastle, and even a point against Chelsea, I think we're going to be right up there. But yeah, like we keep saying, 7 cup finals. I would still be happy with 5th in the Europa League. But if we can get a Champions League, of course, that's a real bonus.
Yeah, I agree. But do you know what? We are contenders though, like in this situation, because it seems like players, we lose a player, another player steps in, steps up. Like Ben Johnson come in for Noble the other day, done a good job. Balbuena done a good job, really. And yeah, we are serious. Like to me, we'll get onto the Newcastle game later, but for me, I think the next 2 games will justify where we are going to be. But West Ham Online, top 4 contenders, or are we still pretenders?
I think that game absolutely defines what I think. We said before, James, if we win this game, we believe that we're going to finish above Leicester, and I really do think we are now. We've pulled Leicester right back into it, and we're not just looking at 4th now, we're looking at 3rd. I genuinely think we've got a 50-50 chance now at this stage. We really, really are. This is the best position we've been in all year at the moment. If we can beat Newcastle, I think we'll get top 4. If we lose to Newcastle, I still wouldn't say that it's completely off the table. You know, Chelsea lost to West Brom, but we do need to beat Newcastle and maintain momentum, because with our fixtures, it's well in our hands.
Yeah, I agree. I really do. I think this is our moment, and obviously the results have to go for us and all. Like, if we're going to do this, we're going to have to do it the right way and just keep winning. Think about us. Our mentality has got to be win every game with Champions League. That's what it should be. And 7 games away, and it ain't just the wins that we're picking up; it's the way we're playing. Like, obviously the defence is key, but I'm just going to move on to this comment quickly before we move on. Right, Forge from Irons, go and check them out over there. Good stuff, good debates, good heated battles, and all that. But Gatesy has a comment here. Thoughts on this possible lineup at Newcastle: a 3-4-2-1, which is like Fabianski, Diop, Dawson, Abona, Kafal, Souček, Fornals, Mazawakel, Bowen, Lingard, Benrahma. If Noble is not fit, that ain't a bad lineup, like, really. But I can't believe I'm going to say this, but if Noble is fit, he has to play, because he's had 2 masterclass performances. What's your thoughts, lads? I'll start off with West Ham Online.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it. As we say, I'm saying it as well. But once again, if Noble is fit, he's got to play, because I think he was arrived for him against Leicester. So Newcastle team, we have to attack. It would be ridiculous to play defensive against a team that have about as much backbone. We have to attack them. My opinion, should play. I think he'd cause their fullbacks because them 2 could be up against Stevie Wonder and end up on the deck. So we at Newcastle, we just need to go at them, because any team that's gone at them has caused them problems. You look at Tottenham last time they played, they sat back and they were at Tottenham and then game. So yeah, that's my opinion on it.
Yeah. Scott, what do you reckon, mate? I just about got all of that from West Ham Online with his dodgy internet connection. But talk to me, Scott. What's that lineup like for you?
I really like that lineup. Unfortunately, I think that will be too attacking for Moyes, though. The only issue is he obviously doesn't fancy Coventry at the minute, so it would have to be Souček and Fornals. So yeah, it's probably, it's quite likely, thinking about it, with the injuries. And like West Ham Online says, it's Newcastle. We've got to attack them. There's no point in going there and playing negatively. We're 4th in the league. We're not fighting relegation. Let's go there. Let's try and get a result. Take us up to 3rd with Leicester playing in the cup. And, psychologically, that would be huge. So, yeah, no, I'd go with that lineup 100%, mate. Yeah.
Before I get to Cathal, I got Charlie Boy in the chat. How you doing, my sir? view from the sidelines tonight, mate, stateside. So if you want to come on, talk to me about the game, 11 o'clock UK time. Check it out. If you want to come on, Charlie boy, you're always welcome, mate. Caffel, what do you think of that lineup, mate? Is that too attacking, or do you think Moyes will be a bit more reserved?
I personally think that's a great lineup. I think I don't think Moyes would pick it. I could see more if Ogbonna's not back, and since Cresswell's probably going to be out, I could see Soufal stepping back into that centre back role, and I could see Fredericks hopping out because we will need pace there for someone like Alan St. Maximin running at us. We'll need someone like that. But I would definitely love to see us play some game with a team like that. I don't know who would be against, but I think that'd be a great team for the end of the season.
Yeah, is that the perfect team for Newcastle though? Because I think if we win this game, this is, in my opinion, and I'll hand it over to the boys in one sec. In my opinion, if we win this game, the Chelsea game is like, if we draw with the Chelsea game, then we're still rolling, if that makes sense. But I would rather go out of this game, get this game won, and by the time Chelsea get to us, they would have had played 5 games before us, basically. We'd only played 2, so that's going to have to count somewhere along the line. So, what's your thoughts, Scott, on that?
Yeah, I completely agree again, mate. I think it's yeah, probably is a must win, isn't it? If we want to go for Champions League. So yeah, no, go for it, mate. You know, if we come away with a point, probably wouldn't be too disastrous. But you know, I'd hate to go there as negative as we have done before in previous games and get nothing from it, and then look back and think, oh, you know, we've lost to Newcastle twice. Has that cost us Champions League football potentially? So hopefully we've learned from the mistakes in the first fixture, and you know, we can put those wrongs right. But the only worry is, like Capital says, you know, they got St. Maximin who's coming back, and I think Wilson was on the bench, wasn't he? Who loves a goal against us. So we've got, you know, it's not going to be a walkover. We've got to take them seriously.
Caffel, what do you think, mate?
I think looking at that team, it's nice to see, but that doesn't suit the way we've been playing recently. We're like even when we're beating so many teams in the league, we're beating them with 30% possession, 40% possession most. That's the sort of team that wants to have the ball, and it's a good attacking footballing team. When we don't play like that, especially right now, I think we'd be even for a team like Newcastle. Because I wouldn't count the team we played against Leicester if that whole team's fit. I wouldn't call it defensive. I just say it just works well and it suits us. And I think it gives good cover for the backs. It has the good midfield and it has that counter ability to it. I think that's if we can play that team. Obviously, Ogbonna going in for Cresswell, I would play that, and I'd save the attacking team for maybe if we've picked up another few wins, and in the last few games, even something like Southampton, I'd rather us pick up a few wins and throw out an attacking team when we haven't been playing like that recently.
I agree. I really do agree there. Do you know what we do need? We need a boring 1-0 win, because I can't keep going through these 3-2s and scoring 3, conceding 2 every week in, week out. It's I know I'm going to move on from this one because I do believe we'll get to the Newcastle game in a minute. But how concerned are you lads with the amount of goals we are shipping though? We've conceded 7 goals in 3 games. Scott, what do you think on that, mate?
It is a worry for sure, especially when someone like David Moyes is more defensive minded. But I'm hoping with the return of Ogbonna, a proper leader, solid in defence, as we all know, he's going to really come in and sort that back line out. But yeah, it is a worry, and the only positive you'd hope the players have all learnt from their mistakes. Obviously, it has repeated itself a few times now, but yeah, it's happened far too often, isn't it, in the last few games? But that 7 goals in the last 3 is a worry. Yeah, something needs to be looked at there, but all hope is on Ogbonna, I think. get him back and hopefully he can sort out the back line.
West Ham Online, what do you think on that, mate? 7 goals, 3 games, a lot of goals in the last sort of 10 minutes of games. What's going on?
It's a little bit worrying, but I echo everything Scott just said in terms of as soon as Ogbonna's back, I'd like to see if we completely improve, and I expect that we will.
Caffel, what do you think on that, mate?
I can't say anything more. I think the 2 lads there have said everything that's needed saying. I think once we have Ogbonna there, that sorts out a lot. It will bring the leadership back there, and with the technical ability, we know Dawson has good leadership, but he has Ogbonna's the whole package. He's the perfect Italian centre back, and I think the lads have said it there.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Right, so moving on. Obviously, we've got Newcastle coming up the next game. We never win up there. That's one place we don't ever. And I've said this at Wolves, and I'm going to say it here because it's another game where we just don't go up to Newcastle and really do anything. We got a point last season there in a 2-2 draw. And it's just our luck that Newcastle are starting to hit a bit of form all of a sudden. I'm going to ask Scott this first. Obviously, this to me is the one. Leicester was the game that decided whether we're top 4 contenders. This is the game where we have to sort of stamp their card and say, right, we're here to stay, so to speak. We've opened the door. We've got to start making our way through the door, if that makes sense. What do you think on that, Scott?
Oh, without doubt. I think if we can go up there and win, it'll be 3 from 3. Great form. That's the right sort of form you want to be in heading towards the end of the season. But yeah, no, it's huge. It's a massive game. But I don't think it's going to be a walkover. I think we're going to draw up there personally because, like you say, our record does stink, doesn't it? But But we had the same sort of.
I think a draw's not a bad result if we beat Chelsea.
Yeah.
If we beat Chelsea, then I would. Obviously, Newcastle have been poor this year, but if someone said to me right now, James, you're going to draw with Newcastle, but you beat Chelsea, it could be the other way around. We could beat Newcastle and draw with Chelsea. So either way you look at it, we don't want to. The more points we take with Chelsea, the better. But for me, if we drew there and beat Chelsea, it sort of counteracts the same thing. Scott, what do you think?
Without doubt, I think that would be more beneficial. We're taking points off someone who's around us. Newcastle doesn't really matter, does it, in terms of points wise? But yeah, the Chelsea game, if we win that's a massive statement. But yeah, no, I agree, James. I think a point would be okay at this stage. Having won the Leicester game, I think I had that down as a draw, so I think that's a bonus 2 points. So I'd happily take the point, and then if we can get the result against Chelsea, then we're going to be right up there.
I agree. I done like a sort of predictor 3 games ago, and we had 30 points out of possible 10 games available, and I done sort of like an average, like going through it with West Ham Online and Andy and a few others who have been on the channel. And we come to the conclusion that 23 points was sort of the average. Like with everyone, we all had to go picking games that we think we'll win, lose, and draw, etc. And we come up with an average of 23 points out of a possible 30. So far, we've got 7 out of 7 points out of the possible 30. So, like, if we end up getting the 23 points that we've sort of averaged, that is Champions League football, in my opinion. So, it's a big game in regards of momentum, so to speak. What do you think, West Ham Online?
I think I'm going to have to slightly disagree with you two regarding the result. I think Newcastle were absolutely terrible. Honestly, I think they're shocking. I think they've hit a slight bit of form, which is beating Burnley in the draw against Tottenham. But I still think that I've watched Newcastle a lot this season, and even at the start of the season when they were getting results, they were absolutely terrible still. If we get tactically outdone by Steve Bruce, it's the most embarrassing thing in football, in my opinion, because that man's a walking dinosaur. We have to win, in my opinion. They're there for the taking. Have to win.
Does the Newcastle game become more pressure because we're expected to win? Like, let's be honest, against Arsenal, we was underdogs. Against Wolves, we wasn't. It was like a 50-50 game, and yesterday was pretty much the same. Again, like us going to Newcastle, we will be favourites going up there to win that game. Do you think that sort of brings on more pressure onto the team, knowing that you're here, you're turning up here to win, so to speak?
Yeah, but I think with Lingard and Bowen in the form they're in, I just don't see a way we don't beat that Newcastle team. I just don't. I really do think we'll give them a right. I'm going to go 2-0 personally.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I'm just not convinced at the minute. Like with that, because Newcastle are just on that sort of little wave at the minute where they're fighting for their lives. What do you think on that, Scott? Obviously, it's a big game up there. It's massive for the for the season, basically. Like if we win this game, then we sort of go on, and then I'm going to ask Cathal a question.
Yeah, it's unknown territory for us, isn't it? To be favourites, it's quite bizarre. Yeah, so how we react to that is yet to be seen. Going up there as favourites, it's never sat well with me. Yeah, like you've previously mentioned, they've just hit a bit of form, haven't they? So I can't see it being easy. And Steve Bruce, he absolutely hates us, doesn't he? So that will give him extra incentive.
Cathal, obviously we've got Newcastle and we've got Chelsea. If we drew at Newcastle but beat Chelsea, would that be better than us beating Newcastle and drawing with Chelsea?
Well, statistically, of course, it would be, because that means Chelsea are losing points, I suppose. But I think we have to go. We have to go for every game to win it. I think it's half time is when you assess if it's worth a draw. If you see then, and then that's when you make that decision. We're good enough to beat any team we've left to play. We go there. We go for it. I know we don't have a good record up at Newcastle, but this season is an outlier. This season, none of that has mattered so far, really. So, because most seasons we beat the good teams and can't beat the smaller teams. Now we're doing the complete opposite this season. So I think we just have to go for the win in both of them, really. And if it's not going our way, assess it at half time and then make the decision for the draw.
Yeah, I agree. I really do. I think the team is. I don't feel doubted by this team. I don't know about you lads. I just feel like this team can beat anyone at the minute, the way they're playing, or they're not going to lose a game, so to speak. What do you think on that, Cathal? Like when you see this team now, you see a team that's got loads of confidence and they look hard to beat.
Oh, I completely agree. I think there's a coincidence that every time someone plays us, it goes on to be, oh, they had a bad performance. They didn't get to play their brand of football. They haven't played well. That's not a coincidence. That's the way we are. We are a horrible team to play against, and we're tough and we're ready to fight any team. And I think we're able to beat any team.
Yeah, I agree. What do you make of that, Scott?
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, credit to Moyes. He's installed that grit. You don't see anyone sort of not running. They give everything now, don't they? So yeah, like Cathal says, we're a horrible team to play against. We do put in the odd naughty challenge, don't we? Which is good to see. We're not a walkover anymore. It's really refreshing. So yeah, it's a one-off season, isn't it? So why not go up there and change those records? You know, as they have been so dire in the past. I think we can do it, mate.
And West Ham Online, what do you think on that, mate?
Yeah. As I say, the record for me means absolutely nothing in this season. The one record I am worried about is the Brighton game, because I think that one really is psychological, because we just can't beat them at all. And when we played them earlier on in the season, we was horrific, and somehow clawed a draw. But on this Newcastle game, I think, as I said, I think Newcastle, in my opinion, they've been lucky to be where they are. I think they're the second worst side in the league, in all honesty. And yes, with Wilson back, it will be more of a challenge, but we've got to take into account that he's not made an appearance yet, so he might be a bit rusty as well. And yeah, we have to win. It's a shame we don't have Rice and potentially Noble, but I think any player we have out there should really beat Newcastle.
I agree. Great question here from Luke. Anyone who's got any comments, put them in the comments below, and the boys will answer them as will I. Do you think we'll be able to perform under pressure when fans return? That's a good question. I'll put that to Scott first. What do you think, Scott?
I think we're one of the teams that have gained an advantage from having lack of fans, to be honest, mate. There's been a few games from memory, the West Brom game, that we've... it's been tight. The crowd would have gotten the players back. So, yeah, I think it's been to our advantage. And you look at the teams like Wolves and probably Liverpool, who it's been a disadvantage to. So, yeah, I'd say the fans or lack of fans has helped in a strange way.
I agree there totally. Cathal, what do you think, mate?
I think it helped at the start when the season returned, but I don't think at this stage it's going to make much of a difference. I think we should be fine for fans returning. I think it's got to that stage. Everyone's become complacent with it and used to it, so it's not going to be an advantage or disadvantage at this stage. It's a year now to any team. I think we'll be as fine as Liverpool will. I think they're using that as an excuse when all majority of their fans do is sing a song at the start and shut up shop till they score a goal, maybe.
Joe, what I do believe, and I've done a thing today for another platform, and I believe that when the fans do return, I think that we're going to be more sort of not worried, so to speak, if we go a goal behind. I think if we go a goal behind, we're going to sit there and we're going to go, you know what? Right, let's not panic because we know we're a decent team now. Let's get behind the boys, and I think the fans are starting to believe that, you know what, we ain't going to get on the managers' back. We're not going to get on the players' back when it sort of goes wrong. What do you think about that, Cathal?
I'd agree with that. I think we're going to be much more comfortable team. We've especially now they're used to sort of Moyes was only new before the whole lockdown happened. I know he'd been there before, but the new backroom staff was only coming in, and now that they've had the time to get everything in, and we know what we're doing, and we never seem to be in an awkward situation. We had that awful performance against Liverpool, but every other game we've sort of mostly been in it, and I think I don't think fans will do anything but good for us. They'll give us more energy, especially if we go 3-0 up against a team. I don't think we'll be blowing it near as much. It will just give us that sort of fight when we have that noise behind it.
Yeah, I agree. Good comment here, I must admit. I'll flick through. What we got here? Got a good question there. It was a good question, I must admit. Good point, Luke. But if we get top four, the owners, as they promised, will invest in the squad and will have more strength and depth. Fans will be reunited by this season. How important, gents, is it that they do invest in the summer? Like, to me, this decides it for me. If they have to invest this summer, there can't be no hiccups. No, like, they have to go out. They have to get the players in that Moyes wants. They have to believe in Moyes. They have to go, you know what? Like, we will give you what you want because you're giving us what we want, sort of thing. I'll put that to Scott first, mate.
Yeah, I think they've got to, James. We've seen this season how thin we are in terms of numbers. So yeah, they absolutely have to reinvest, and especially if we do get Champions League, that's going to be another budget we're going to have to further. But yeah, I think they have to, and I think they realise the backlash they've received in the last couple of years. Our club, we won't stand for it anymore. But yeah, no, I think they have to, and I think they will. To be honest, James, I think they will. Although I think we will get a few loans in.
Yeah. West Ham Online. What do you make of that, mate? That comment there.
Yeah, we need to invest if we get top four because we can't be signing like 6 million players if we get top four. The owners, we know the facts, the money investment that you get if you get Champions League. Any lies? Oh, we have no money.
West Ham Online, you're cutting in and out like a good one, mate. He'll be back soon. Careful. How important is it, mate, that we invest in the summer for next season?
Oh, it's essential. Like, there's no way we can go through a season with the squad we have now. I wouldn't even expect us to go through a Premier League season with the squad we have now. I wouldn't expect us to give a cup run with what we have now, no matter going into Europe. And it's not like I expect much out of Europe. I just think it's a good opportunity to get good players in for the future, and it shows them what we're able to do if we just work it, and you keep someone like Moyes there, and you get someone like Lingard in, keep Rice, and it will get us better signings. It will sort of be like, I know it's not as big as winning the league when Leicester did, but Leicester won the league. I think they might came 10th or 11th the season after, but it makes the club a much bigger thing, and you get that opportunity to sign them players, Tielemans and Didi, the young lads in who are going to make the difference in the long run.
Yeah, I just think it's massive this summer. I really do. It will tell me what the owners are all about this summer. Like, I do believe they have to sign Lingard. If they don't sign Lingard, they're going to have to sign at least between 4 and 6 players. Like, there's players that we need massively at the club, and there's players that we're losing in the summer and all. So it is quite an important transfer window, in my opinion. Sort of going on to like the last 7 games. West Ham Online, I hope, will be back soon. His internet's playing up tonight, so I don't know what's going on there. But West Ham Online, if you hear this, get back soon, mate. Going into the last 7 games, I want to do like a sort of like a predictor of what you lads both think. Obviously, we've got the Newcastle game next. How would both of you see that going? I'll start off with Scott.
I think we go out there and draw, mate. The injuries just worry me. I never thought I'd say this with Mark Noble being out. How the tables have turned. Yeah, that's a big worry. Creswell as well, although defensively he's had a bit of a shocker going forward, and set pieces he's been really good for us. Yeah, I think a point, mate. I think they've just hit a purple patch, and we've caught them at the wrong time, unfortunately.
Chelsea, mate. What do you think after that? I'm going to go through all the games with you.
Yeah, Chelsea. We've got a really good record against them at home, haven't we? I fancy that. I fancy us to nick something there, and I've got a sneaky feeling we'll see Declan Rice back for that game. I don't know why, but I think he's ahead of schedule. Yeah, I think we'll win there. To be honest, I really do fancy us. We'll be up for the London derby, won't we? And it'll be massive.
I think if you can get Yarmolenko back, Rice back, and Bonner back. I know I'm not saying about playing Yarmolenko, but even having that option on the bench would help the situation, and even rest a few players, like i.e. if we're winning a game comfortable, bring them on for someone else. But then after the Chelsea game, we've got Burnley away. That's a game that we don't win, Scott. What do you think on that one, mate?
Again, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. We don't win there, do we? We've hardly ever gone up there and won. Tough game. You know, he sets up 4-4-2, always hard to beat. I think with Burnley, it's always key to get an early goal. And you can go on to win the game. But yeah, it's a tough one. Really tough one. I'm going to have to sit on the fence and go draw again there, James.
Right, another draw. What did you go with Chelsea? Went with a win against Chelsea?
Win against Chelsea, yeah.
Right, so that's a 5 points so far. Then you've got Everton at home, which if we can get to the Everton game and we're still in it, then the excitement's going to get unbearable. Like the door's open and we'll be firmly in the door if we get to the Everton game and we're still in it, sort of in that sort of little talk.
Yep.
How do you see the Everton game going, mate?
Yeah, I fancy us against Everton. Again, good record. I've seen their team tonight, and it looks weak. It looks really weak. Yeah, I'd fancy us to win there, mate. You know, I think we've got the second best home record in the league right now. So yeah, at home, I really do fancy us.
So we've got to 8 points. 8 points for Scott. Then we've got 2 back-to-back games, Scott. I just want your quick thoughts on these 2 back-to-back games.
Yeah.
We have Brighton away, and then we have West Brom away. Points-wise, how do you see that going?
2 tough games. 2 really tough games. Brighton away. Yeah, we struggled there again in the past, haven't we? That's a tough one to call, James. I'm going to have to sit on the fence again and go a point.
What, a point to Pete?
A point to Brighton, and then I think we beat West Brom away. Yeah, I think we'd beat them comfortably.
So currently we're up to 12 points, and the final game for you, mate, is Southampton. How do you assess the Southampton game?
Yeah, I think we'll do all right there. I think I can only see us winning. They're on the. I think they'll be all right. I think they'll survive. They'll be on the beach by that point.
Yeah.
I'll have to put us down as a win there.
So, in your calculation, 15 points from a possible 24. Start to like 21. Yep. So basically, that's it's not a bad ratio. Cathal, I'll come to you on this one, mate. We'll start off with Newcastle. How do you see it going?
I think we should beat them. I think 2 or 3-0. I know they've hit a wee bit of form there recently, but they're not good. Like they're nothing special. I think teams like Fulham are better than them, and I think they're just lucky they've got the points where they have. I think drawing with Tottenham's nothing special the way they're going right now and the way Mourinho has them. Burnley, it depends what Burnley shows up. We gave Burnley a right go at the start of the season. It just really depends which one of them shows up, and Newcastle got the best of them that day. So I think we should get a good result. I don't think the past form in up north is going to affect us too much.
Then the next game's Chelsea, mate. This is a big one. Obviously, if we beat Newcastle, we're still in the hunt. But then we've got the massive game with Chelsea. How would you assess that game?
Chelsea is the one I really do want us to win. One of my best friends is a Chelsea fan, and I just really would love us to beat them. But I'd be happy with the draw, that's what I think might happen. I think we might go ahead and they'll pull one back, and I think we'll end up getting a point. So
4 points so far. Breaking news: David Moyes is at Yamex tonight. James from the Anvil's just confirmed it, and I've just seen it live. So yeah, he's up there scouting Everton and Brighton, who they're both playing. Who's both playing tonight, and both West Ham's opponents.
Everton's team tonight. I'm just looking at it here. It looks very awkward. I don't know if it's the way LiveScore has it lined up, but it looks like they're playing 3 centre backs, a centre back in midfield, and James Rodriguez up front. I don't understand. It looks a bit awkward. It looks like they're struggling.
Yeah. So we've got 4 points from the next 2. Then we go on to the Burnley away game. Cathal, how do you see that one going? Considering we don't win there.
I think we should. I think this is the season that past form doesn't matter. I think we should be able to beat a team like Burnley, especially at this stage of the season. It's perfect. It's perfect for us. I know they're tough and they're a hard team to beat, but when they've nothing to fight for, I think that we should beat them.
So we're up to 7 points from the next 3. Then we play Everton at home, who in past as new sort of thing have always been that team that is awkward, that we find awkward, especially at home. How do you see that game going, in your opinion?
Everton are just one of those sort of bogey teams for me personally. I think they're always tough. before this season, when we were always in that, it was sort of our main rivals were teams like Brighton, Palace, and Everton. They were always up for it against us. But I think we should be able to beat them. I think just go out for them. They're nothing special. The whole hype for them at the start of the season, and we were getting no talk. And I think we're well good enough to beat a team like Everton right now.
So we moved to 10 points after the Everton win, right, from the last 4. Then we've got 2 back-to-back away games. We've got Brighton away, where we don't ever win, and West Brom, who probably would be relegated. If we get to if we get past Brighton and we've 2 games to go, like the West Brom game, is it important that West Brom are relegated by the time we get to them?
I can see West Brom being up by the time we get to them. Or in the fight for it at least. I can see Newcastle slipping down and West Brom fighting their way up. It's I don't know what Fulham will be at really. Hopefully Fulham will find a way to fight out of it, but they've hit a stump there recently. But it really just depends how it goes. Other fixtures wise, we can't really predict it ourselves. We'll just have to see how it goes. But either way it is, we're good enough to beat West Brom, but they will be up for it. They'll be a tough team, especially with that man managing them.
No, that's fine, mate. That's fine. How do you see both them games going points wise?
Brighton, I just draw. I don't know. I've never beaten Brighton. Just seems foreign to me, really. So I'll take a point against Brighton. I think we should beat a team like West Brom.
Yeah. So basically, we're looking at 14 points from Cathall's sort of predictor going into the last game, and that is Southampton. How do you see that one, mate?
I think we're able to get the three points against Southampton. I think, especially at the end of the season, it's just we'll be on top of the moon hopefully at that stage, and just up for it, and hopefully we're at a stage where we don't even need to beat them to get top 4. But if it comes to it, I think we can definitely do it. They seem to fall off to the middle of seasons, and then they're nothing by the end recently with Hasenhüttl. So I think by the end they're safe, but they've nothing to fight for. I think we'll be well up for it.
Yeah. I hope you're right, mate. I hope you're right. Before we wrap it up, gents, is there anything that you want to discuss? Is there any concerns that you got? Anything that you anyone in the comments got any comments like regarding injury front? Any news? Boys, take it away.
No, I'm grand anyway. If Scott has anything to say, if there's comments coming through, I'll certainly see what they have to say. But I'm fine.
Yeah, Scott?
Yeah. I'm interested to see who you boys would want in the transfer window next year.
Ivan Toney, mate.
Yeah,
Straight away.
Yeah.
I would go to Brentford. I would literally go to Brentford and I would raid them of all 3 of their players. Ivan Toney, Rico Henry, and Josh Da Silva. I think Brentford are in a. I think they do well, Brentford, considering like they're on such a small budget, but they seem to pick up players for fun. Another player here that Jay Wood says is Rufus Loftus-Cheek. If Fulham go down, that's a good shout. Tom's put Tony, Lingard, Henry are a must. I agree. He agrees with Loftus-Cheek. Cathal, what do you think on that, mate? Who do we sign? Who would you like to see at the club? You know what I mean?
I think someone like Loftus-Cheek or Basuma would be great. That sort of ball-playing centre mid who's good at the running with the ball, and they've the legs for the game. I think someone like that. I'd love Tony, but I don't know if we'll get him. I just think go out for someone up front, even a Patson Daka or something like that. We just need someone who can play there. Tammy, even that's a great shout. Because I know you want to take the 3 from Brentford, but I think that would cost you over 60 million, and none of them are Premier League proven, which I'd love to see them because they have the potential and they're all great in their league. But I wouldn't be willing to pay up to 50, 60 million for 3 players who have never played in the Prem.
Good point. Good point. They haven't played in the Prem, but I think Rico Emery, you can definitely get out of Brentford. He's on his last year of his contract.
I could see him. He's the main one I could see us getting from him. I think De Silva's young, and I think he has a few years left in his contract, and he'd cost Ben Rama sort of money, 25, 30 million, and 30 to 35 million for someone like Ivan Toney.
Yeah. How much? I'm going to ask both of you a question. I'm going to put it in the chat and all. It'd be interesting to hear people's thoughts on this. How much is acceptable for the ball to spend this summer? Like, how much would you say, you know what, they spent a fair amount, that's fair enough? Or what would you be unhappy with, so to speak?
I'll go first. It all depends on how much Man United will want for Lingard. Say he's 25 to 30 million. I think spending 50 to 60 million is good. Of course, it'd be great if we spent more, but I'd be happy with 50 to 60 million spent.
Scott, what do you think of that, mate?
Yes, 70 to 80 million for me, mate. I think Lingard's gonna cost in excess of 25 to 30. If we're looking at a striker, you're probably saying 30, aren't you? 30 to 35. Although I can see Tammy coming in on loan. I can really see that one happening. He's out of favour at Chelsea. So that would free up some of the budget, I guess. Need a left back. They don't come cheaply nowadays. And a central midfielder. Yeah, so it's not going to be cheap, mate. But I'd probably say 70 to 80.
Tom puts here, I'm worried about the personnel more than the amount. I agree. The numbers, like the squad depth in the squad, is absolutely horrendous, and I don't understand where all the money's gone. Considering, like, we've got 2 goalkeepers on the bench in under 23s. Obviously, we need to bring in bodies at the club, and there's no there's no team that need it more than us, because you've only got to look at us now. We're going down to the bare bones, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? And if he was to sign sort of like position-wise, what positions would you be sort of looking to sort of strengthen? Obviously, striker would be the main one, because we all know Antonio is not always going to be fit. But what other positions on the pitch would you be looking to strengthen? And I'll start with Scott with that one, mate.
Yeah, like you say, striker, absolute priority. Central midfielder, that's a must. You know, we've seen with Rice getting injured, how weak we are in that department. And a left back, I think we really do need a left back, James. It's as much as Cresswell has done this, you know, as much as how well he's done this year defensively, he's suspect, and we've known that for some time, haven't we? So they're the 3 main positions I'd like to.
I want to ask Luke a question. I'll ask Luke. Who he said worst left back in the league? Was that for West Ham, or is that in the league in general, Luke? Put it in the comments below, mate. Cathal, what do you think on that, mate? In regards of basically position strength.
I think we'll need maybe even 2 strikers, 1 starting quality striker and 1 squad player at striker, a centre mid, a left back, and if we're getting in that centre back from Napoli on a free, Maximovic or something like that, if we're getting someone like him, because we'll need someone to replace Balbuena, we'll need a senior quality centre back there to replace him. So I and obviously Lingard, so whatever he counts as midfielder or attacker.
Yeah, I agree. I do. I'm a bit, obviously Balbuena is going, so he's on his way out the club. Obviously we've got Anderson, Yarmolenko, Lanzini still on the books. I think before we sell them 3 players, we need to bring in double what we before we get rid of them. Like, so if we sell them 3, we need to bring in 6 at the very least. And it's very hard to bring in 6 players and trying to adapt into a team that's last season's done very well. But it's going to be interesting though, like with regards of like if it's going to be interesting to see how we go. I think Luke's comment was about Mazuaku, which I could get to that right now if we want to go down that route. But Defensively, very suspect. Whips a great ball in. Arthur was awful when he went off. Henry at Brentford was not. He's not proven at the Premier League, so need to experience for me. I'm going to get to it with Arthur Masuaku because I was on a show yesterday and we had a bit of a heated debate about Arthur Masuaku. And for all the good things that he does, he backs it up with all the bad things he does. And he's been here 6 years, and for me, he hasn't really improved, so to speak. He's always been good with the ball at his feet, got good tricks, etc. But he's clumsy and he makes silly errors and mistakes. And I agree with what Luke says there in regards. Rico Emery is the best left back in the Champions League, best left back in the Championship. I spoke to my friend who is a Brentford fan, who is a massive Brentford fan. He says he's the best left back in the league, James. Like he's top class, speedy, up and down the pitch, excellent. So, in regards to Masuaku, and I'm going to ask Scott this first, and then we'll get to Caffel because Caffel was on the stream with me last night. Scott, what do you make of that, mate?
Yeah, just quickly going back to Luke's comment about experience. We've seen obviously with Matty Cash, Ollie Watkins, even Bowen step up. So I don't think that's an issue. And like you say, he's the best left back in the Championship. So not a problem for me. Masuaku. Yeah, strange one. I think you hit the nail on the head. He loses his head. We saw that when he got his ban for spitting at someone, doesn't he? Yeah, good with the ball, but yeah, what he did for the first goal was criminal, and then he gave the ball away, didn't he, towards the end there, which they should have scored, to be honest. But yeah, Masuaku, we've said it before, James. He's told to attack, and Ben Rama's told to defend. So I don't really understand it. Yeah, we need to replace him. There's better left wing backs out there. Yeah.
Caffel, you was on the show with me last night, and it got a bit.
I was indeed,
and it got a bit strong. Don't get me wrong. I get what the boys were saying, and I understand it. But this man's been here 6 years. It'll be 7 years at the end of the season that he's been at this club since. It'll be 7 years next season. Sorry, it'll be 6 years this. So he's been here since 2015, and let's be honest, he hasn't really improved, and he hasn't really got any better. What do you make of it, mate?
I like him. I wouldn't say he's a shoe-in for a starting player. I wouldn't call him a left back anyway. I would never play him in a 4 in the back. I like him when he has the reinforcements behind him. I think he's 50-50 with his deliveries, but sometimes he can put in a cracking ball. I feel we won yesterday. I know we can complain about it, but I don't want to scapegoat him for the whole reason that we ended up conceding. I think everyone else could have been, once he lost the ball, like everyone could have been more aware. Even the shot wasn't amazing. Like it went sort of down the middle a bit. Fabianski could have been more on his feet for it. But I don't think he was meant to be on the pitch that long. I don't think he was meant to be there. I think once Cresswell went down, that put a halt to the subbing of him because he's not fit for 90 minutes football. As you could see, he was blown out of his arse after the last game. But overall, I do like him. He gives us a different element of attack. He's top 3 in the club for bringing the ball up the pitch, I think, because someone being able to run and get through players with the ball is as good as hoofing up a long ball, like what Diop done for us. I think.
Is it a concern though to you that I know he's good going forward, but he can't defend? And well, when you're a left wing back or a right wing back in any sort of position for any team up and down the pitch, the first thing I want my defender to do is defend, and he can't defend. So it's a bit of a problem when you got a defensive player who can't defend. If that makes sense.
I completely understand that. I remember first time Moyes came in. That's when Arthur had his first good spell with us. He wasn't a back. He was. I don't even know if Moyes was playing 5 at the back or he was just playing him straight up left mid. But I just don't think he's a defender. I think he gets back there and he puts his body in the way, but he has no commitment to challenges. He has a bit of that sort of Andersonness to him. He's just he'll use his speed and all to get in the way, but he's not going to do anything. And at this stage, as you said, he's been here 5-6 years. I don't expect him to do anything, so I can't give out when it happens because it's nothing new and it's nothing surprising.
Yeah, I agree there. I agree. The thing is with me, when I look at Kafal, we've signed for 5.4 million, who come from Slavia Prague, who no one sort of had a clue who this man was, and he's come in the team and he's been arguably one of our best players at the club this season. And then I look at Arthur Masuaku, and he's been here 6 years. He knows the Premier League, and he makes silly, clumsy errors. And it's always the same sort of clumsy errors. He'll get the ball to feet, and he dilly-dallies on it. People nick it off him, and it ends up being a goal or a possible chance of a goal. So it is a problem, though. It is a problem there. Like, I was being branded as like saying that I've got an agenda against Arthur Masuaku. I haven't got an agenda against Arthur Masuaku, but I just don't think he's a left wing back, and I don't even think he's a defensive player at all. I think he's a winger at best, and he's basically because he's got no defensive qualities. Like, I want my left wing back and my right wing back to be able to do both. That's what they're paid to do. They're paid to go up and down the pitch, and he can go up, but he just can't defend, and it's a bit of a worry, so to speak. So I do believe a left back is needed in the summer. Let's talk about this man. Let's hear your thoughts on Ben Rama. And I've got a bit of a thing I want to say about this one. And I watched his training video, and I wasn't really impressed in what I was seeing. And I will back Ben Rama to the cap.
He didn't look like if he got in that opportunity in a match, he's going to score. He didn't give me any confidence there anyway. Yeah,
and he didn't really give me any sort of thrill to say, you know what, this man has to play, and I've got to back him up. But, and I will say a big but here, and we spoke about it yesterday on Forge for Mind's show. Pablo Fornals yesterday was non-existent in the second half, really non-existent. And why, I don't understand why he wasn't brought on sooner, so to speak, when Fornals was, if you was to watch the second half, I think you wouldn't even know he was on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? What do you think about that, Cathal?
I couldn't tell you anything really. I'll never know a lot of the time. I think when he does play, he gets shipped off too early. He doesn't come on early enough at times. But also he hasn't proved the reason why he should be on the pitch. I know he's good on the ball and he's got a few assists, but he hasn't shown a lethal side to him yet. It's just one of those. I'd love to see it happen, but I think it's just going to take a bit of time to. He'll probably need an injury, or he'll need just a good game for him to get at players and to prove his worth to get into it. But right now, I've no problems not seeing him coming on till 75th minute, because it's when he did come on, you couldn't even rate him at all because we didn't get the ball.
Yeah, I agree with you there, 100%. Scott, you're a fan of Ben Rama as much as I am, mate. You are in that camp of this man needs to play, he needs to start. I've done some stats work on this man, and he's only completed 2 full 90-minute games in this season, and he's played over 20 games. And all the rest of them have been sub appearances and whatnot. Obviously, yesterday's game, Fornals was non-existent in the second half, and obviously, these games, we're winning these games, so it's not really an issue at the minute. But it starts becoming an issue if we ever concede first, if that makes sense, and we're chasing the game. What's your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, agree, mate. Fornals, like you say, he was anonymous. I wouldn't have even been able to tell you he was playing in the second half. Similar to the second half at Wolves. Didn't notice him. Yet he gets labelled as the workhorse, works hard. No matter what game he plays, it's always, he works hard. I didn't notice him yesterday at all. Had a decent first half, granted, but second half, was non-existent. Going to the Benrahma point of view, yeah, he came on the 84th minute, I think, yesterday.
Yeah.
Backs against the wall, we're defending. And I think people are expecting to turn up trees. I don't know what they're expecting. He's an attacking-minded player, and we're bringing on with 6 minutes to go. You know, what do you expect? When we're defending? But yeah, like you say, I think he needs to be starting games, mate. Confidence is shot to pieces. Moyes is continuously calling him out. You know, if he's had a shot, if he's made a wrong pass, it's always the Benrahma. You know, he shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be doing that. Well, how about put an arm around his shoulders and say, look, come on, we're back, yeah, we believe in you. And that might, you know, you might see a different player. But we're not going to, because he's not playing him. So yeah, odd.
I'd love to see him start, but he hasn't warranted it. He did for a while before Lingard came in. He had 100%. He was playing. I thought he was playing great football, and he was getting shipped off too early. But right now, I don't think he warrants it. I know Fornals might not have showed up to do much, but I think I know the work hard thing. I think he does work hard. I agree, he was non-existent in the second half. But as a team, we are better with him on it. I think he's that perfect blend between midfield and attack.
I agree with you there, Cathal, to a point. I do. I agree with everything what you were saying to a point there. But this man, Fornals, has only scored three goals this season, 4 goals this season. If he's playing as an attacking number 10, we want a bit more than 3 or 4 goals a season from this man, don't we? Let's be honest.
Ideally, yeah, but I don't know if I see him as an attacker. I think you might see him there on the formation sheet on the TV, but I think he's more as I said it yesterday. I don't know if you were there, James. I think when we're playing counter-attacking football, our 2 centre mids or defensive mids are in the box by the time we get the ball. Noble, Rice, or Souček are around the box or the D when we win the ball back, and he is the only man sort of in that midfield area. And then the 2 or the 3 ahead of him are the attackers. I think he's that sort of the blend between the attack, and he just helps get it moving in the counter. I know he's not quick and he doesn't always get it, but I think that's what he is for the team.
See, Charlie says here, if a player doesn't score, they say he's non-existent. Well, to me, he is non-existent, Charlie, if he's not making an influence on the game. Like that second half, he was non-existent. And he says he's cover. I've got mixed views on it. Like, obviously, Fornals has to come back because we've got no Rice, and I believe like he's the ideal player to come in. But I do agree with Scott on this one. This myth of like, oh, he works hard. Well, they all work hard. Do you know what I mean? It's just that he doesn't really sort of like. Yesterday, he was playing as like the number 10. It was Souček and Rice as your 2 DMs, and he was playing basically just behind Lingard and Bowen. Now, if he doesn't make any goals and he doesn't score any goals, is working hard justifiable, in your opinion? And I'll put that to Scott.
Simple answer: no, it's not really. To be honest, mate, we can all have grafters. You know, we had Snodgrass for that, but he's now playing at West Brom. Yeah, I just don't like the label, to be honest with you, mate, because no matter what performance he puts in, it's always how he works hard. Don't get me wrong. I think, he's done well in games. But yesterday he was anonymous, and there's no criticism whatsoever. I just think there's an agenda with some players at the club, which I don't like, mate.
Cathal, where does Benrahma fit? Obviously, if Noble is injured, is this Benrahma's time now? Or will there be another sort of defensive-minded change? Will Ben Johnson slot into midfield?
I think it could be more Fornal slots in there, keep the attack, and maybe Soufal goes to centre-back and Fredericks comes right back for certain games, depends who's the attacker. But if he is injured, I'd love to see him get games. I think even a team like Newcastle would be great for him to play against, but then also you have Alan St. Maximin running at you on the other end, so maybe Fredericks would be good cover at the back. It's game to game. He doesn't suit us for every game, really. That's the issue. Fornals, I know, doesn't always put in a blinder performance, and a lot of the time he is as people would just say, working hard, which I can understand a lot of people don't like because they do all work hard. That's why we are where we are. But it really will just depend which game where he's going to slot in.
I agree, mate. I agree. I'm going to ask you a question. I just want a straightforward answer, really. If Benrahma, no, will Benrahma be here? Not this summer, but next summer, or will he be sold? And I'll go to Caffel first on that one.
Right now, I can't see him being here, unfortunately. But hopefully next season is if we get Europe and we have a lot more football and there's time that he can show his worth and prove himself. And I'd love him to stay even the way he is right now, just get him on more. But the way it's going, even with Moyes, I don't think he's a Moyes player. I think he was a Sullivan sign, and I can't see him being here. I think if we get good money or even you could get 20 million or put him in a swap deal for someone, I think he'll be gone.
Scott, what do you think, mate? Not this summer, next summer. So you're looking at the 2022 season.
Yeah, I echo what Cathal says. I personally can't see it. I think it's quite evident that Moyes doesn't fancy him. And what's he? He's 25 now, isn't he? So he's getting to that stage of the career of his career where he wants to be playing, needs to be playing. If I'm looking into a crystal ball, no, I don't think he is here in 2 seasons' time.
I've got a question here that I want to end it on. All right, and the question is from Luke, who's been really good tonight with his comments, mate. Top class. Question for you all: does he work hard enough to warrant a start, Benrahma, that is? Now, I'm going to answer this one, me personally. He does work hard, right? But he brings others into play and he takes defenders and defensive-minded players out of the game. Me personally, I don't see how we can judge a man who's only had 2 90-minute starts in over 20 games and the rest of them have been substitute appearances. Like he's played 60 minutes one game, he's played 10 minutes another game. That's not justifiable in my opinion. Like Bowen went missing for 12 games, and look at Bowen now, for instance. So the man needs to play or run the games, like, and then everyone can judge him. Like if he plays, for argument's sake, if he comes in and plays the last 5-6 games of the season, then we can get a fair assessment of the man. But you can't judge a man who's coming on when we're either losing a game, drawing a game, or we're trying to save the win, if that makes sense. I'm going to ask Caffel that first. What do you think, mate?
I don't understand if I haven't seen much of it. I don't see much hate. Like I don't be really paying attention to the stuff on Twitter that people be talking shite about him and all. I don't see the thing that he doesn't work hard. I think he's constantly pressing. I know he might not put a foot in all the time, but a man running at you could make you panic or make you just sort of rethink your options. And I think he certainly does work hard. Were you saying something there, James?
No, mate. Go on, carry on.
Yeah. I don't. There's nothing more you can say. I agree with what you've said. I think we just need You see, I don't see him getting as much football now to prove it. I think he should have got it before someone like Lingard came in. But then also, if he was playing half as good as Lingard was playing, we wouldn't have went and signed him. But I don't know. I don't understand people saying he doesn't work hard. I think he certainly does. And he's an attacker at the end of the day. We didn't sign him to defend, lads. Like.
Yeah, and that is a good point. And Gatesy, who is on Forge from my hands, summed that up brilliantly. We never paid for a defensive-minded wing-back. Do you know what I mean? Winger who's going to be defended all the time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Scott, I'll leave it over to you, mate. Your final thoughts on that, mate, before we wrap it up.
Yeah, well, if you go and watch the game we played against Everton away, and go and tell me Benrahma doesn't work hard, he grafted for that game. I think we were playing a 5 at the back system, and he was up and down those wings, and he put in a brilliant performance. But yeah, like you say, we haven't signed a player to defend. You know, I'll name off a few players here: Grealish, Richarlison, Rashford. Do you ever see them labelled with why aren't they defending? You don't, do you? So yeah, I don't get all this defensive hype with him. It's not his role. It's not in his DNA. So let the man do what he does best. And like you say, James, give him 7, give him 8 games, and then we'll judge him. 10 minutes here and there, you can't judge a player. You can't say because he's played for 10 minutes, he's given the ball away twice. Let's sell him or whatever. 10 minutes is just not enough. Let's be honest.
You put someone like Messi on for 10 or 15 minutes in our team. He's not going to pick the ball up in our box and run the whole way up and put in the top bins. Like, I don't understand why people are expecting him to do a madness.
Yeah, I agree with you, lads, totally. Like, I really do. And I just think that he's, after the Haller thing, he's the next one on the hit list, so to speak, on the ones who sort of he's an easy target. But I agree with you both. Luke, I've got a comment here from Simon. Luke, if you why don't you go on come on the show? Luke, if you ever want to come on the show, mate, my Twitter's there. You're always welcome to come on, mate. Just DM me and I'll get you on. And I want people's views, right? I want West Ham fans' views on this because this is big, basically, this season.
If I can talk about it, anyone can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, mate. So yeah. So I've come to the end of the show. I've done an hour and a half with. I want to thank West Ham Online. He had a bit of internet problems, and I don't know what happened there, but I will speak to him after. I want to thank Scott for coming on, mate. Talks very well, very passionate, and I want to thank Cathal also because he's top class. Also comes on and express their views. We've all got the same love, and obviously we all got different opinions on different things. But let's just hope that this season is the season that we do end up becoming a team of either a Europa League team or a Champions League team. And if we do become a Champions League team, it will be the best ever achievement I've ever seen in my lifetime at West Ham, and I think it even outlays any FA Cup that they've ever won. So yeah, like I've got some shows coming up, and I've got back to the bowling series. If anyone wants to come on that, I'm talking about the bowling. If you ever visited the bowling and your first game and like what your pre-match experience was like, DM me. Always welcome. This show, View from the Sidelines, I do this sort of Monday or Wednesday, depending. And I've got a show tonight in a couple of hours, all the way from the US of A. I've got a View from the Sidelines stateside, and I'm talking to some American fans about the game, what their thoughts are, and all that. In America, the fan base is very huge with West Ham, and I'm quite shocked from me doing this only last few months. I'm starting to sort of divulge into the American market of fans, and some of them are very, very passionate. They get up in the early hours of the morning, and they're very, very committed, and they love the club as much as we do. So fair play to them. And yeah, I've got match day mornings towards the end of the week, Saturday morning. I'm not sure who I've got on yet, and I'm not sure what time, but I will put it on Twitter and all the social media platforms for that. So I just want to thank Scott. Thanks for coming on, Scott.
Thanks for having me on, James. It's been a pleasure, mate.
Thanks a lot, mate. And Cathal, thanks a lot for coming on, mate.
Thanks, James. Great getting on.
Nice one, man. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. Subscribe if you're new. It means a lot. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to Hammers Poles, who's up there. Sorry. And it goes a long way. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys. You take care and stay safe and all the best. Thanks a lot.